So what I did next is I did two things. First, I listed what are the possible digital platforms. So you have a lot of it available right now, and what you need to do is select which one that addresses your objective. First, there's iVideo. An example is on YouTube. Before you watch a YouTube material, ewan ko kung nakukulitan yung iba. Minsan, may lalabas na 15 seconds that you can't skip, or maybe a short 6 seconds giving you a reminder. I think when it was starting, naiinis tayo, ano ba to? But eventually, because it's been constantly happening, we were already attuned, or we were already trained to see those advertising. Of course, social. Facebook is one of them. Of course, Twitter is there. And almost everyone in the Philippines who is on mobile is actually on Facebook. The numbers being quoted by Facebook is between 60 and 70 million Filipinos are actually on Facebook. Search. I think for businesses, and sometimes minsan nakakalimutan natin, it's search that's most important. Why is it important? What's your behavior when you search? You already have the intent to look for something. For example, I'm looking for a restaurant I want to eat in during the weekend. So that's what I'll type. Therefore, the job of the advertiser then is to make sure that based on their consumer queries, I'm able to come up on search and I have the right content to serve. Next, you have online publishers. I would say the online publishers can give your credibility, your credentialing when they cover you in the news, or when you have a deeper objective of educating, for instance, that's where they can help. Influencers. When we say influencers, these are either people or groups that can help you drive your message and give you credentialing or credibility to your message. I'll show an example later. And lastly, e-commerce. The power of e-commerce is when you have advertising and you want people to immediately purchase, you can already lead them to a platform for them to actually buy. 10 years ago in the Philippines, this wasn't big yet, but now if you've heard of Lazada or Shopee, people actually go there to buy even their most basic needs in terms of groceries. And of course, you have other categories that they purchase there. Next, types of assets. Ang maganda sa digital is your imagination is your limit. I'm mentioning here the basic forms, but I would say I don't think I have captured everything. Because day in and day out, when you talk to young people, they discover new forms or they tweak within the current forms on how to make the assets work for them. So who here is on Instagram? If you've noticed, I think just last weekend or last week they launched Instagram TV for the Philippines specifically. If before Instagram was just about static posts or short videos, now Instagram TV gives you longer format in terms of communication. And right now we can't advertise yet, but I think that will change the way people consume the platform and advertisers will need to understand how to advertise. Cinematograph. These are like short videos that are moving when you just want to drive a very short message. My short video, my long video. Again, I couldn't dictate the length. Because each player would define the length based on how they want to deliver their message. Some teams opt for the shorter ones, some would want the longer one, depends on their objective. Banner ads are there, have been there since the 90s. Articles and blogs. Again, with articles and blogs, the length and the format differs based on your objective. And I would say the guidance here is use these specific assets based on how you want to address your objective. Next slide, please. So in PNG, when we try to solve for a problem and before we go about brainstorming and strategizing, this is the most important question we want to answer first. We want the consumer, the shopper, the customer, the one who will buy your product, your service, or your goods to be at the center of everything you want to answer. Because the boss is not the general manager or the Asia president or the CEO of the company. It is the consumer who is the boss. We make sure that we create the plans based on how he or she behaves. Kasi kung walang consumer, wala po tayong benta. And when there's no benta, the company won't exist. So, the first question I ask usually a young manager would be, if you are asking me to create a media plan or a digital plan, what is that objective or objectives, depending on the specific issue, do you want me to do? Do you want me to impact awareness? Is the issue people don't know about my product or my service? Second, is it about consideration? Some brands would have issues na they know about the brand, but the thing is there are other options in the category that they would want to choose for them. The third part, sometimes they just have so many messages that they need to isolate a message and they deliver that message using digital. I'll give an example. Like Safeguard, as you all know, is about superior skin germ protection. But sometimes they would use digital for one line on a lemon variant, which they can support on TV. Digital allows you to segment your messages and deliver that message. Or sometimes the objective is just drive online purchase. Like, people have known my product or my service, but the challenge is how do I immediately drive them to buy? So, if you go to the next slide, after you've understood the issue, the first thing you need to do is, of course, to create a strategy. I would say it would need to be the bigger strategy, but specific to digital. The first question I ask is, what is the role of digital in my business? So, to your right, I have here what you call the purchase funnel, or the path to purchase, depending on the marketing person you're asking. And what you need to do is determine, nasan ba yung, what specific part of the path to purchase do I need to actually address before I create my digital plan? Awareness ba yung issue? Is it a consideration issue? Sometimes it's just a basic conversion issue. Or sometimes when we diagnose, we realize people are actually buying our brands. It's just that they're not as loyal as we want them to be. So what we want to do is to make them buy more of our brands. And here are some of the rules that you can actually define. Do you want to reach new consumers? Like, I have my steady business now, but I want to expand my business, therefore I reach geographies or consumer segments I haven't touched before. Or sometimes, I just need to engage my current consumers. Like, they like my page, they visit my website. I just need to remind them that I'm still here, therefore, I need to connect with them. Or the third part, minsan the opportunity is, I have a steady business right now, but I have a new offering. And that new offering can give me my next inflection or my growth for my business. Therefore, I use digital to reach them. Or sometimes, very tactical. Naghahabol ako ng benta. Kailangan ko lang to reach a few consumers para mag-hit ng quota, and maybe I can allocate some of my budgets for those. So again, after diagnosing the problem, most important part, strategy. And this will be the anchor of the next parts of the framework. Next slide, please. Then, usually, after you do your strategy, you start with an audit. What do I have available? So, first question, what are the platforms and assets do I have? Second, and this is that part on digital that a lot of advertisers actually forget. What available consumer data do I have? email numbers, mobile phone numbers, those who've liked my Facebook page, because these are rich sources for you on digital. If I am, imagine you are a business of, let's say, you have 1,000 consumers on your database and you haven't touched them in 3 months. Imagine if you can just get 10% of those 1,000 to actually buy you again. And that's a huge size of price already for you. And imagine if you can make them loyal and make them buy for another round. Next, do I have the capability to activate platforms? And I would say this is where we stayed humble in P&G. When we were starting our digital journey, we acknowledged there are some parts we don't know. So what we did, we consulted with, surprisingly, the younger folks, because they're the ones who are actually using the platform. The first time I actually activated on Facebook, I had to ask someone who was younger. Because at that time, maybe like 2011, 7 years ago, I was 27. I wasn't that old yet. But there was someone who was 19 or 20, who was just a fresh grad, who knew how to manipulate or like use the platform better. And I think that's where humility comes in. But the other important part that I'm realizing on digital is I have to talk also to someone who is a bit older, because the behavior and the usage of digital is also different. Therefore, I would need to adjust with across the age groups depending on my target audience and how I deliver my message. Next, do I have the capability to create assets? At this point, the good thing about digital is designing assets like simple photos or short videos doesn't have to be very expensive. You would have boutique stores or sometimes even students or who are freelancing who can do the content for you. And sometimes you don't realize the content is just in your office. It's a powerful visual you've had for years, but you just need to repurpose and make use for digital. And lastly, and this is the part where you're new and you don't have the credibility yet, do I need other platforms or persons to speak for me on digital? So now that you have your strategy, you know where your capabilities are and maybe gaps, and you've made your choices, let's go to number 3. And this is the important part on digital, operationalizing. And operationalizing is about making choices, which means when I list down the digital platforms, I can have 10 or 20 or even 30 available platforms. But what I want to do is to select and deselect platforms and develop and advertise the right content effectively. Again, at this point, it's about choice. Which specific platform drives my objective, drives my message, and addresses my business need? So I came up with an example here, a hypothetical example. Oh, let's say I have a website, I have a social media page, i.e. Facebook, and I have email. And I have defined the objective. Oh, website, I have all the content for anyone who searches. Social media, day-to-day announcements, I will curate there, I will boost as needed. And email to drive consumer loyalty. But let's say the issue of my business is people just aren't buying as often as I wanted them to, but they love my brand. Therefore, of these 3, I will first activate email. Because I have the database, because I want to drive loyalty. Again, after you created your strategy and did your audit, now you make choices on where you want to activate. Then, we go to the 4th part. Next slide, please. Which is developing the right content. And this is the tricky part about digital. Digital is such a broad word that initially we thought it was just desktop. And then we realized, oh, people actually consume digital more on their mobile phones. So we had to make the call that first, you have to choose. Where does your consumer consume digital? Do you design for mobile? Do you design for desktop? If it's a younger segment, probably they're on their mobile phones. But if it's a big investment, like a car or a house, yes, they can be searching on mobile, but maybe they make their actual purchase on desktop. Therefore, my desktop website needs to be really, really good. Second, when you deliver your message, again, when you deliver your message, you have to hook your audience, then deliver your message. For instance, on Facebook, how do you scroll your feed? Ba tuloy-tuloy lang siya? You scroll and scroll and then, oh, I like this. Oh, a picture of my friend. Now imagine, your consumer is designed to look at photos of friends, and here you are, a business trying to advertise to them. So the crucial part when you develop your content is, number one, you need to have a thumb-stopping power. Kailangan mapapatigil sila. Ooh, interested ako dito. Powerful visuals, very simple. And number two, I have to fit within that context of how they consume the platform. Because otherwise, you won't be relevant. Mas-skip ka lang. Third, I would say keep messages short and simple. But again, I'm stating this, but if you think you need something very long to deliver your message, go ahead. Why? Because I have a fifth point later. And number fourth, fit your message based on how your consumers consume the platform. If they're searching, then you need to have the right website for them. And the fifth one, have the right culture. Again, digital, the rules haven't been written. There are some applicable rules, but they change every day with the changing consumer landscape. I would say we call it a culture of test and learn. Again, you can fail today, but tweak something and then it works, and then you iterate. Second, do A/B testing when you are not sure on which message to drive. And I would say this applies especially, for instance, on Facebook. When you actually advertise on Facebook, minsan hindi mo alam, ano ba yung ida-drive ko? Yung simple ba na promo or pwede ba na other type of communication? Usually what we do, produce both. You let you create your buy for it and let the system optimize. Because what happens is, whichever asset the consumers respond to, that eventually gets served. And the last part, iterate and test again. Again, digital is a long journey. And sometimes things work, sometimes they don't work. The important part is you learn and then you iterate. And sabi nga nila, it's about machine learning right now. But as business owners, you see where you can improve on better, etc. Having said that, I have two cases available for us right now. Next slide, please. So we'll keep in mind the framework of strategy, capability, operationalizing, content, and culture. Of course, we'll talk about the four parts. The first four. What I'll do is I'll show a material, and then I'll let you know the four-step process and maybe even the fifth part on how we brought it to life. So, let's go to the first material. Next pa. There's a play button somewhere there. Before that. So, okay.
Ever since ginawa, RB, nung parang when was that? Nag-shopping kami, alala ko, after nag-shoot ako, and then namili kami nung sale period pa na 11/11 ng Lazada. Para dumating yung products at naka-sale sila dahil in-upload yon in time for the 12/12 PNG sale. Okay? And then, nung time na yon, wala pa nito. There. That verification na meron official store. Okay, because may fear ang mga tao na, di ba, because you hear these horror stories na may mga fake products. And of course, you don't want to buy fake. So, what they did now is that, pag pumunta ka dyan, you will see talaga that there is that mark, and that's super important to have that mark because official store, Oo, parang inaano nila,
Verify.
ina-assure nila na this Pantene really came from P&G. Here, so since
Ayun,
we
nasa official
click
store.
dun sa official store, ayun, there, yun yung hinahanap, there, sa ilalim. Meron talaga. Official store and verified. So Lazada is doing that now. Na ano ko, may
We can
nostalgia
pause.
feels ito talaga because
Okay,
dami namin
napapause natin.
pinagdaanan at ano.
Thank
and
you, madam. Okay. So, so if you've seen the material, so Miss Chris Aquino was talking about that official store in e-commerce. So I'll do the background and then let's do the four-step framework. The background here was P&G has been selling in Lazada as an e-retailer for the longest time. But if you actually look in the site, there are many resellers available. Specifically for a brand like Pantene, because it's an open platform, anyone can just open and store and actually sell. So, what was the Who Inspired Business Challenge? The challenge was, how do we make consumers go to our official store and buy our official products? Because if we won't do that, they will eventually buy non-official P&G goods. So that was the issue. So what was our strategy? The strategy was to educate shoppers and consumers that there is a Pantene official store and they have to look for that specific badge, that it is a Pantene official product. So that's the strategy. Second, content audit. The thing is, when we were discussing with the team, we realized it was such a long message that if we were to explain it, no one would actually listen. So what we did then from a content standpoint was we looked for someone to do the talking for us. So we needed a long format, therefore it's a long format iVideo. So we got the services of P&G brand ambassador Chris Aquino to do the talking for us. Third part, operationalization. So we made choices there. Do we do a Facebook
that.
post? Okay. Papause na po. Yan. Sige, tuloy na lang. Basta walang audio. A Facebook post ba? Or mag-video ba kami? Or maybe in our websites? Or maybe in the actual Lazada store? And we realized we needed a broader material to do it for us. So we decided, sige, one material, long format video to do the education. That's how we operationalized. And the content is a video content because it needs some time to explain. And the last part on C, the culture, the test and learn part of it is, honestly, we didn't know if it will work when we were doing it. Good thing it worked for us because what happened after this is the testing part of it. We did it for more brands for us. We did it for Olay, we did it for Safeguard, we did it for Head and Shoulders because we had to address that one specific objective. People didn't know that we had an official store. Okay, so that's one linear example. Now, let's go to case 2. So the question then is, can I actually create a strategy which I can bring to life across different platforms? So the background here, let's say I'm giving a case for Whisper. So the brand is called Whisper Feminine Napkin. The background, Whisper is relaunching. Number 2, it gives you more comfort and protection, and it follows the shape of the body. And number 3, we had to appeal to a younger target audience. So that's the brief. So strategy. So that's the brief, and had to communicate new Whisper. First choice we did in terms of strategy and operationalization, a Facebook post. Again, what did I say about Facebook? When you scroll, you have to move up, and then it already moves to the next part of your feed. So on Facebook, the team kept it simple. Whisper turns pink. New product shot, Nadine Lustre, done. That's it. I would say, I would have been tempted to do, oh, it gives you comfort and protection, blah, blah, blah. But I don't have so much time. So, it was a call, Whisper turns pink, product shot. Very simple, done. Now, the question is, okay, how do I then communicate that other parts on, and I want to have content that actually talks more about the brand or the product. Next slide, please. Nakapost si Nadine.
There's a new Whisper in town. You can be more comfortable and leak-free with new Whisper's Connie Soft Herbalicious cushion that fits your motion. Whoa! Say yes all day. Herbalicious all day. New Whisper Cottony Soft in stores now.
Okay, so if you've seen the Facebook post, very simple. Whisper turns pink. Now, this specific asset enables me to communicate the other parts of the benefit. Curvalicious, comfort and protection, and now available in store. Because it was an iVideo on YouTube, I had time to actually talk about it. So check Facebook, checks iVideo on YouTube. Now, what's one thing we realized is we're catering to a younger segment. And the thing with the younger segment is it's not enough that you just sell to them. You need to fit within their lifestyle. And they're about music, self-expression, finding their identity. So what the brand team did was, okay, I'll take that specific benefit of Curvalicious, but I'll create something that fits within the lifestyle of the consumer. So let's play this video.
Former member of Pop Girls,
Whisper, buhay ay maikli lang. Huwag mong kakalimutan. Gumalaw kung paano mo gusto. Huwag mong papigil sa kahit kanino. Taas kamay, sabay-sabay, sumayaw na parang hindi ka mapipigilan. Say yes all day. Say yes all day. Curvalicious, curvalicious. Curvalicious, curvalicious. Say yes all day. Say yes all day. Curvalicious, curvalicious. Curvalicious, curvalicious all day. Sa bawat sandali ay
Papos. Thank you. So you've seen how a very simple message on a Facebook post, on a branded iVideo 15s, I drive my benefit, I have time. And this one, I think the way they launched it is they had Nadine post the material. So catering to a broader, I have to go more than benefit. I have to fit their lifestyle. I need to enter pop culture. I need to do music marketing, but still delivering the benefit of the brand. And you see, that's a magic with digital. You can select and target your messages based on who do you think are most relevant for those types of messages. So some practical tips. Again, I couldn't emphasize it enough, consumer first. There are some brands we've told that actually they're in a place not to use digital. And it's a choice. You can use digital and use it when the platform is relevant to your target consumer audience. If it's not relevant, go ahead, don't use it. But if it's something relevant, you have the data, then I think that merits the use of the platform. Define clearly the role of the platform, because when you're able to define the role of the platform, you can next define the right asset and therefore choose the right message to be delivered in that platform. Again, don't treat it in isolation. Treat it as part of the total marketing or the total business mix. How do you leverage on the data you're gathering offline and make use of it online and contact your consumers? How do you then make use of a simple event, for instance? Example, if I were a business owner, I'm an event specialist and everyone signed up here, And assuming that there's a release clause that I can contact you again, maybe I can create a database and actually talk to you again and arrange another event, for instance. Lastly, it has to stay within your brand equity or idea. If you have to drive what you stand for in consumer's head, if you are a family-themed restaurant, or if you are about great service, your digital assets should be able to convey that as well. Next slide, please. Measurement. I would say once you choose which specific platform and which specific asset to communicate, what specific measure does your program need to impact? Is it sign-ups? Is it number of clicks or number of visits or number of purchases based on how you've conducted your digital activity? Because when you're very clear with those measures and those metrics, then you can evaluate whether your digital program actually worked for you. Depending on the industry, I would say generally design for mobile first, because most consumers are on mobile rather than desktop. Again, culture of test and learn. Yes, there are some rules, but I would say if you invite me 1 year later, I'll be talking about new rules again. Like, I don't know, like I would say baka the video doesn't work anymore a year from now. And that's the beauty of digital. You just have to test which one works and then write the rules and then test more things. And the most important part, stay hungry. Rules, what rules? Again, digital platforms are evolving on a regular basis. Be quick to adapt to those changes on platform or consumer behavior. Again, there are some parts of the business that will remain the same, but there are some parts in digital where you just have to iterate, test, and learn. Now you know the rules, maybe tweak a bit. Now you've created this type of content, maybe I could change it a bit. And I think that's the power of digital. You see the results immediately and you can iterate and somehow rewrite the rules for yourselves. So that's my last slide. That's actually my last slide. Do I have time for questions? So, sure. Okay. Any questions that that you may have, I'll try to answer the best as I can. Go ahead, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I'm Mitch Ballesteros of X-Link Events. My question is, how do you authenticate the fake ones to the real ones? Like in Lazada, they have the verification.
Yes.
Let's say you have any case already that you handled, that there's
Fake product.
there's ano bang tawag dyan? Like the case before of a brand that was parang nasiraan siya online. Was there a case already in PNG that you handled like that?
None yet.
And wala pa.
None yet, fortunately.
Okay.
But I'd probably can outline what you can do in case it happens. Hopefully it doesn't.
Okay.
Hopefully it doesn't happen to us.
Okay, because
my
that's,
corporate communications manager is here. She'll kill me. But go ahead, ma'am.
because fake news is all around.
Yep.
So even in the brands, there has to be education to
Yeah.
public like us that's always exposed to online. So please lead us to that path so that we can be warned also.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'll answer it two ways. Number one is what to do in case it happens. Fingers crossed it doesn't happen. And number two is how do you stay vigilant and how do you ensure you drive authenticity, or how do you avoid going to that path? Okay, that part, in case it happens, if it's in a case where it's an e-retailer, the first thing we usually do is engage with the e-retailer and ask for their help. The e-retailers are actually, from a system standpoint, equipped to look for fake distributors or fake resellers, and you can actually request them to take it down, to take those products down, especially if it already damages the equity of your brand. Second would be drive the equity of your brand such that, so like for instance in this example, again the issue wasn't about fake products, but like how do you make people know your official store and your official products? Therefore, the third part here is you would need to look for alliances, influencers, or communities, or specific groups where you have strong relationships with to help you drive the authenticity. That's, I think, a huge part of how we can take advantage of the digital world. Look for credible people who really have a genuine interest on your brand, who are really using your brand, and together with them, let them do the talking for you on what authentic is. And people would somehow listen to them, because if it's a balance of the manufacturer, advertiser talking, and then these credible people talking, that actually helps really well. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, so we have 5 more minutes, Arthur. So while we're waiting for the next question, I see there's another questions, but follow with your questions and then one more question.
Go ahead, ma'am.
While doing that, there's a great actually practical tips here that you're sharing with us, Arthur. So maybe take your FedEx pen and then write down, and then this is really that you can really take it home and then do your digital marketing. But please go ahead.
Just to finish my thought on this.
Sure, ma'am.
For SMEs like us, we're very careful because once we start promoting online, it's open both for positive and negative.
Yes.
So it's a whole
Pandora's
new
box.
universe. It's a Pandora's box. So does it mean that we need to integrate all the factors, the influencers, the videos, all those things, so that we can be properly supported in case there will be haters, in case there will be, parang it's a question, are we going to start? Or if we start, are we ready for it already as SME? So yun lang po yung tanong ko. Maybe it's
Okay.
also represents. Thank you.
Okay. I would say, so the first part is you start. I think the first part you start with depending on the platform, ha. Let's say I'll start websites. I think websites are much cleaner because you are serving people looking for content, or intent-based siya. I'm searching, therefore I serve the right platform. Therefore, the website actually works. Therefore, doon medyo mas safe tayo from all the fake news and the authenticity issue. As long as you are able to drive that my website is authentic, it's real content, then I think you're quite safe. I think the issue usually happens when it's in social media, correct? I would say, if you are to start your own Facebook page, the question you need to answer is, first, why? Because do you want to build a community? That's the first one. If you want to build a community and maintain that community, and then eventually target people in that community and outside the community, then it makes sense. Right? But if it's a simple, but if you're not sure yet whether I want to converse with everyone there, then I'd say maybe the website is the better option. Because at the end of it all, the website, for instance, the website answers the intent-based, and even within Facebook, if you think about it, when people actually share, it doesn't necessarily have to be within a Facebook page. People can talk about your business and then talk about what they see on your website. That's I think one pragmatic way of how I would go about it. Then going back to the first point, in case it happens that there's still issues, then you look for the right people to help you with the right community to help you with it. Whether it's a Facebook community or an informal community, I think that will actually help. I hope that answers the question.
Actually, that's a very good
Very good
question.
question.
Yeah. Any last questions before we close this?
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Faye from Network of Enterprising Women. I have a question. You mentioned that digital natives are born in the 90s. You have brands that are, how do I say, the prime market, the aging market. In terms of digital marketing, I know you still have to do some efforts for that.
Yes.
Was it effective for your aging market to go through social media or digital marketing, even if they're not abreast to technology?
So the answer is yes. I would. It's not a complete yes for the total Philippines. I would say, I'll qualify aging. I'll qualify anyone above. Sorry, ha. I'm part of it. So let's say anyone above 30. Let's say anyone above 40. Does it make sense to do digital for anyone above 40? I would say not completely yes for total Philippines, but if you think about it, you have specific target audiences in the more urbanized parts of the country who are consuming more digital. Probably they're watching videos, they are on social, therefore it makes sense. So yes, but we had to choose, not everyone. Like, for someone who has no internet access, who is aging, but in the more rural, therefore, I need a TV or a radio. But for a more urbanized area, I would say by and large, whether it's older or younger, it makes sense. And we're seeing that it's also effective when we reach them via digital. Again, the difference would be, I won't do a Nadine Lucia type of execution, right? Where it's about music marketing or it's about youth-specific cause, but it's just about delivering my message to them. To drive frequency, like TV alone is not enough. Therefore, I need a Facebook post or I need to have my videos on YouTube. Therefore, it makes sense for them.
Well, Arthur, you've been very generous with your time, so I want to thank you so much for your time, and I hope
Thank you so much.
when this session ends, you don't go home yet. Maybe there are some other colleagues that want to ask you some questions, but please join me in giving thanks to
Thank you
to
so
Arthur
much.
for
We'll be
his
here.
great presentation.
If you have any questions, feel free to approach me. Pwede tayo magbalitaktakan, talakayan. If you have a specific issue you want to solve also, we'll try my best to answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Arthur. So we are actually reaching to the end of the presentation, but this is not the end of the workshop because we still have Cisco there, we still have FedEx there, we still have HP there, and the P&G guys are here. The team are here, so please come and then ask them if you have any other questions, and I'm sure I'm gonna hear something from my colleague here in just a moment. And we have I told you that. We have an afternoon snack next door, so you can also go to next door and then have some tea and coffee and some snacks there. I just want to say, it's been a great pleasure coming to Manila again, and this is my, Dr. Jerry and I, we are working for some time now, so this is, maybe 5 or 10 times already. But it's a great pleasure to be here. And I want to thank once again DTI and PTDC, Department of ICT, and our friends from PCCI and others that comes to this event. My senior country representative Maxi as well. And actually, because we are here at PTDC, I wanted to invite distinguished Sir Nestor to come to the stage to deliver closing remarks and also to send you all to the clinics. Yes, Sir Nestor, please, the floor is yours.
All right. we're about to close our workshop and we're about to take our snacks again. And we had tremendous learnings for today, and I hope our absorptive capacity is just as well, particularly on the non-millennials. We've also seen today generosity for sharing expertise, sharing know-how and tips. Now, the ASEAN SME Academy is what we're celebrating here. And they have content for us waiting to be tapped. We don't have to wait for events like this to get together and learn, because learning is a calling in life. In a continuously changing environment, learning is the only way we can cope and survive disruptions, volatility, changes, and threats. But it's also an opportunity to make it a bigger place and a better place to live in. And we are celebrating, as I said, later on July, my date has to be correct, 12 and 13 is the SME week here in PTTC. We'll see again perhaps Jerry, if he's around. We'll see the same SMEs perhaps. Those who want to get the SMEs digital, we have a similar theme because Google will be here as well to help us create websites for our MSMEs. And this is the rare time of the year where our training programs are for free. All right? For free. The time of the year where we have a buffet of training offerings for July 12 and 13 rather, it's for free. The rest of the year, it's not. So before I go to our mayor, I'd like to thank all the sponsors, the U.S. ASEAN Business Council, the speakers, our guests. Thank you very much. Our MC, those who share their testimonials here. It's seldom we come together, and our weather is also sympathetic. So we hope to meet again sometime in different occasions, better ready to share and show our generosity to lift all boats for progress and prosperity. Thank you very much.